Pacific Oaks College is located in an urban setting in the city of Pasadena in Los Angeles County. Much like the Southern California region, Pasadena residents are racially, ethnically, and economically diverse. In 2019, Dr. Jack Paduntin was named president of Pacific Oaks College. He developed a committee to research the feasibility of meeting the eligibility requirement and apply to the Department of Education for a Hispanic Serving Institution grant. Pacific Oaks College applied with a 48.7% of its total undergraduate student population as Latinx above the 25% eligibility requirement. In October 2020, Pacific Oaks was awarded a U.S. Department of Education Title V grant, providing a $2.5 million across 5 years. These funds allowed us to implement a wide range of services to academically support our students' retention to graduation and thrive during their college experience. Students benefit from a dedicated undergraduate success center with a lending library of books and laptops, complimentary bilingual tutoring service, academic advising, a speakers series to share the backstory and successes based on a foundation of higher education of Latinx. This podcast series is part of our HSI Grants educational outreach to raise awareness of the value and importance of higher education degree attainment within the Latino community. The podcast will provide you with information on how to begin your college dream. You'll learn about financial aid in completing the FOFSA, aligning your interest with a college degree program, the application process, and what campus resources are available to you. We will share motivating stories from local Latinos who have overcome challenges and earned their college degree as the foundation for their success. You will also hear from faculty and alumni who are there to support you as a student to strive and excel, becoming self-sufficient and successful.
Welcome to Pacific Oaks College Hispanic Serving Institution Podcast, Tu sueño, tu realidad.
Dr. Paduntin, president of Pacific Oaks College, shares his story of coming to the U.S. when he was 24 years old without speaking a word of English. He shares his struggles and his commitment to himself not to be deterred by racist comments and stay focused on his educational goals, knowing that education would open doors, socially and economically.
Okay, I'm here with Dr. Jack Paduntin. It's not the first time that I talk to him. It's a very great pleasure and honor to be with you again and with Dr. Castro. And we're going to talk about something really important that it gets related with education, especially in our communities, which is where's our history as immigrants and how important it is for us to really try to push ourselves to get better in whatever we want to do. Welcome to the episode, Dr. Paduntin. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Jack. I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Good, I'm great. How are you, Dr. Castro?
I'm doing well. I'm actually really excited about this episode with Dr. Paduntin, president of Pacific Oaks College. He has an amazing story that he's going to be sharing with us. And I think it's an opportunity for us to really think through this process of being anchored in education and how we can actually do something with this.
Yeah.
Because we are here as immigrants and the opportunities that are available to us, and then also the emotional and the psychic aspect that goes along with being in a different country and at the same time trying to assimilate and also trying to find an education in a field that you know that you can add value to.
Yes, yeah, definitely. So, Dr. Paduntin, when did you realize that education was your greatest opportunity to establish yourself in your community, work or personally?
I actually realized it way early on. Actually, when I was even in Thailand. I started my career quite young, and in that society, in the country, people value seniority. The older you are, the more respectful you will be. But I also found that there are some secret to gain that respect when you're not getting old fast enough. So I knew it early on that if I wasn't growing old fast enough, I need to have the better education, a higher education. And that's when I realized it. I started with my company very young, become a junior team member, wanted to be a team leader at that time. And either I, once again, grow old faster or earn a master's degree or a doctoral degree, then I could lead the team. So I saw that as my path. I decided to just go advance my degree at the very early age. When I got my master's degree, I thought, well, this might also help me advancing my career already. But then I thought, well, I'm not going to the end as yet. Why not going into the ultimate degree that I could have? And now return back and gain that respect and gain that passport to success. And that's when I realized.
I like the way that you explain your journey. You start with one, with one step, and then you go to the next one, and then the next one. And how that happened to you? It was naturally you were just thinking, I just want to keep going, or you have some motivation and gene behind you that push you to do that.
It's a combination, Doug. Actually, when I earned my master's degree, I really thought that I was on top of the world. I thought I knew everything, and this is it. This world is for me. And at that time, truly, I didn't think of going to a doctoral degree at that time. However, went back and worked, and once again wanted to excel my career very quickly. So I thought, well, having the terminal degree would be the best thing. So when I did that, when I thought of that, something changed my mind a little bit. I came back to my doctoral study. At that time, I had an opportunity to teach as a teaching assistant for other students at that time. Then it's changed. It's changed from rather than going into the terminal degree for the sake of leading a group or a project. Now I added a new element that I find in my journey of education. That was kind of, I love teaching so much. I love to be in higher education. Even though it wasn't the path that I set when I was young, but this journey, along the way, I found so many valuable things that changed me, that transformed me. I don't think it was with me from the start, but as I gathered through my journey, it made me stronger and wanted to be better, wanted to be more educated in that sense.
Very interested in what Dr. Paduntin has said, that through this process, education gave you the respect and the passport to success. It's an interesting choice of word, I think, when we talk about not necessarily respect. I know what that means, but you're talking about more of a self-respect, more of community respect, but also this passport to success. Why passport to success?
You know, this is something that I always think, and I travel a lot. I actually travel the world, and passport may be something that I related to that word quite easily. You need to establish yourself, and you need to have a clear identity. The trust of education, people do not question you when you have that. You know, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are very capable of advancing their career and doing a good job for the job they wanted to do. But imagine how much you need to explain. You need to actually prove yourself that you are capable of doing the job. But when you have an education, particularly a formal education, it is part of the criteria that people evaluate you. And that's, to me, is a passport, right? They don't need to spend time with me for 10 years knowing that I can do the job. And in fact, some of the job, I cannot do it without this passport, in a way. There are so many jobs. I mean, we are educating a lot of teachers and psychologists at Pacific Oaks. Imagine, those careers are so critical. Without a formal education, without that passport, can we ever get the job? Yeah. And that's what I meant by having the passport.
I just appreciate the analogy of a passport that gives you that freedom to move anywhere, really.
Right.
And to not be questioned of what you're capable of doing.
you had to have a stamp of your qualification.
Exactly.
And people do not question that.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, that's an amazing analogy, and then really, I've been thinking about it because it's kind of like how you open the door and then you get to the place that you want to get.
You
right?
know what? That's exactly what I see, right? You open the door and you show the passport, they might invite you in. But if you don't have that passport, you might not be able to walk across that door.
Yeah, no, it's very, very critical. So, what are your thoughts around the notion that as an immigrant, we have to work harder and gain more education to be competitive?
Well, this is a very good question, and I still experience that today. Immigration, just like any other minority group, we were looked at very differently. We have been fighting for equality all this year. Do we have that? I still doubt it. I think we still need to fight for that equality. So as an immigrant and as a minority, people perceive you differently. They perceive you in general of being less. Talking to me, listening to me, you hear my accent. Do I think with one? Maybe not, but when I speak it, it does come across, right? So with that said, everything that I present, everything that I represent, everything who I am can be perceived differently by a lot of people. That may come with prejudice, may come with biases. And I mean, in reality, we all have biases, known, unknown, intentionally, unintentionally. So I acknowledge that's come with who I am. I'm proud of being an immigrant. I'm proud of being minority. But I still need to prove my point to some people who have bias that they need to work on. And I choose to work harder because that's value added to myself. I don't need to tell them how good I am. I just need to tell them by working hard and showing this is the quality that I have. If I change their mind, great. If I don't, they need to work on their biases that they have. But I choose to work harder so then the values stay with me.
Dr. Paduntin, I appreciate what you just said. They have to work hard at it.
They have to work, I agree.
It's not you as an immigrant or me as an immigrant or even Douglas. It is they have to.
Right.
And I think that the value of education and also, our persona, that is what really stands out when you say they have to. I will continue to do what I need to do, to do the work and to do it as best as I can because that's what we do. But that point, Dr. Paduntin, is so right on.
Dr. Castro, I wanted to share this. When I was younger, when I first came to the country, I was embarrassed to be minority, to be an immigrant, I would say. I thought that I wasn't accepted, whatever way, but that's when I was young. I see more and more organizations being benefited from diversity. Truly, that is so valuable, that is so beautiful. And now I am in the mode of celebrating the diversity within my organization that I contributed as part of it. So it helped me move myself. Actually, this is part of education as well. Education kind of moved myself from where I wasn't comfortable to be where I am today, which is much more comfortable and ready to contribute rather than sitting in the back and thinking that I am less than anybody else.
You mentioned that we need to fight to get equality, right? And we already come with weapons, which is our culture, but we need to add more to that variety of weapons to be able to
Sure.
succeed, right? So, and that's what education comes along, right? How can we market? How can we publicize the education with minority, with immigrants that come here and they already have a baggage and already have a full experience that that they know we know how to survive, but we need more skills. So how can we market that?
This is a very interesting question, actually. How do we market that? I think people who wanted to pursue higher education need to understand the value of it. And until you understand why you're doing this, then you might not have enough motivation to do that. And here comes the motivation part. How can we help motivate? I'm not going to say how can we help marketing it, right? But we, as a group of people who wanted to contribute to the success of our country, I'm saying that minority, immigrants, majority, what that is, we exist today because we wanted to serve, we wanted to have our community being better. And we know that there's a lot of elements to enhance our community, our country. Part of that is diversity. If we believe in that, then we need to be a role model for a lot of people who has walked through the same journey. Let me take that back. I feel like everyone has their own journey, very special to them, but the success that we define is how we want them to achieve. I think people define their success differently. People struggle differently. And I think we all share that experience. And if we think that we have enjoyed even a little bit of success as who we are today, and we wanted to help more people to be where we are or to be better than where we are, then motivate them. I like the fact that at our college, we built a lot of role model story, because this role model story might not be a superhero story, but it's a story that can help change life, even one at a time. I have seen students who graduate, who is minority, who is a single mother, who didn't give up. How beautiful that is. It's so easy to give up on this valuable education that you would have. Yet you don't do that. Is it easy? I don't think so, to actually balance a family, work, and education. But when that person can do it, how inspiring that person is for the next person to follow. So that's what I meant by how do we help motivate through being one of the role models that people have. And I'm saying one of the many because we are inspired by a lot of things. And we hope to be one to inspire somebody else as well.
You know, you're absolutely right when you talk about the role models, because that's what it is. It is to the point of motivating based on role modeling, right? Of our own journey, which is definitely unique to others, right? And so it's just to inspire them to want to show that they can't do it and not to be discouraged. Because to your point, Dr. Paduntin, you have seen graduates who are single moms, are single dads, and maybe even more complex than that, yet they have succeed because of that maybe role model, that one person that said something to them. That's the inspiration.
We pretty much can add any dimension into the success story that you mentioned, Dr. Castro. Really, single mom, single dad, or minority coming in, English as a second language, arrived the country recently, whichever way. And that's why I'm saying that every success story, every journey is so unique. But there are some common things that we share. We struggle through it, but those who give up would not get to enjoy what they should have enjoyed. So I think that's the part that I love motivation. I love talking to our student. I love talking to anyone whom even a little change of their thought to advance themselves, to better themselves. I consider that my success.
So, talking about success, do you think it's more that redefinition of that success? So, what success means for every single individual that goes to college? We were talking about that in some of the other episodes about, especially with the student success program, where every single student will have a different point of view of what they want to accomplish, and that will become their happiness in terms of achieving the higher education that they can get.
Sure.
So do you think that will be a motivation, like really redefine the success? Because sometimes when we pursue higher education, the first thing that we think is money. I want to make more money. But sometimes that's not the real engine or the real motivation. But this is what we get sold.
Right. You know, and that is so true, actually. I think the definition of success changes over time. At least for me, it did. It did change over. It did change over time. Remember, I told early part of this meeting that I wanted to go back and be a team leader on a big project because that's how I define my success. Maybe I'll make a lot of money. Maybe I enjoy that big project completion. Um, that's when I was in my early 20s, mid 20s. Uh, Later on, it's changed. My success now changed. I went in higher education. I started teaching. Success has a very different meaning for me now. Now coming to PO, I think I transform myself even more. The success for me right now is how many more lives I can impact. It wasn't money motivated, the same thing that I used to think when I was 20, right? So everyone, when think of success, I'm pretty sure that that definition do change over time. You know, as we get closer to the retirement age, maybe the success wasn't to make money. The success is something else. However, the education as a foundation, regardless of your changing definition of success, you have a very good foundation, you have a very good asset for your life. I think I was talking to one faculty early on, and in fact, I saw her in one of the video, and she said, nobody can take away your education. And that is so true. I I can tell you right now that, you know, we all experiencing this crazy pandemic as we go. Things are changing. I feel solid with myself just because I have that education. I know that I have a big cushion that I have built, and it's going to carry me through, and nobody can take that away from me. And I think that's some sense of security that I would like everyone to feel, right? I think it's good to just have that good peace of mind that, yes, not only that you have the passport, Dr. Castro, the passport is maybe an asset, but the way you think, I think formal education help shaping the way you think, the logic that you have, the process in your brain when you do certain things. You can actually get to see a lot of comparison if you talk to a lot of people who has formal or not formal education. I'm not saying that which one is smarter. I think people can be smart with or without education. That's my assumption there. But when you have the formal education within you, the process of thinking get refined. You get a little bit more tools, and you can actually address or solve problem in a very different fashion because you have learned that through the school. I don't know if that is something that's valuable to a lot of listeners here, but truly, I have seen so many students, I've seen so many generations of people coming to college. That is a common skills, common competencies that people walk away from higher education.
You know, I totally agree with you in that education is the foundation. Right? And I think that as immigrants, when we do attain some form of education, it does give us the opportunity to sort of change our perspective. That is no longer success that equals the dollar sign.
Right.
But it's much more an opportunity to say, I have the foundation, which, to your point, we can do whatever we want to with that foundation. And it is to do what we truly, it's already ingrained with us, right? Which is to either support or to do other things.
It's also, I know this might not be part of the conversation, but I couldn't help thinking this, Dr. Castro. It also equips us with something in addition. I'm using that term is sometimes when people are when some people, when they are younger, they might think of the dollar sign as a goal, and they work towards that. They can be very successful, I have no doubt. But when you have that education, formal education, many people also get themselves transformed. They think of others sometimes, right? They think of, yes, they take care of themselves, but what else? Who else? For a greater good that they wanted to do. This education somehow help thinking that way and help preparing them to do something more than just for self, right? I see more of that now, especially being at our college. It's a community serving college, and people coming in with the same goal, same common interest in that sense. And it's so beautiful to see how we help them and also kind of instill the core value that is so timeless. I think that is so critical for having this education that has an add-on elements that can help you change the world.
Totally agree.
Change the world is a powerful powerful phrase, and it's something that we all have to be committed, and it should be part of our daily mantra. In terms of we come to this country sometimes late. We already are 20s, 30s, 40s, and we always heard there's no time or age for education to get education. But what's the reality on that? So it's that really possible, that someone that under 40s can get to a master or doctor degree?
This is not me the first time saying this. You have heard of this many times. Nobody's too old to learn. That's we know for sure. I can be one good example of that. I came to the country when I was 24 years old. I did not speak one word of English when I first arrived. How difficult that was? It was brutal, I would say. I don't want to even think of those days when you wanted to express yourself, communicate, and there's no tools that I can actually do. It was a difficult time. Was it difficult to learn English at the age of 24? It was. And I could imagine that anyone who wanted to learn at the age of 30, 40 may share the same struggle, same difficulties. However, you also define the difficulty as well. You define the success. You also define how difficult this is for you. And if you think that you are so good, why doubt yourself? You can do that. And every day is a learning for me. It's a learning process for me. I think up to today, I'm so happy that I can speak, I can communicate the way that I want, not when I was 24. Do I still continue to learn? Yes, I do. It makes life more meaningful, I think. When you stop learning, that's when life has not much of a meaning, at least in my perspective. If a day I wake up and I don't learn that day, I think I wasted that day. And I want to learn every day, to be better every day. And how many opportunities we have? If a year have 365 days in a year, you have that many opportunities, and you just need to go at it and continue to learn.
I really appreciate what you said in terms of you define how difficult it could be or it's gonna be. That's powerful, because we are the ones that put the boundaries. We're the ones that put the set up the walls.
Self-doubt, yeah, we do that quite a lot. I mean, because people judge us, but we should not be the one judging ourselves. If they can judge us, they need to work on themselves, as we talked early on. But if we start judging ourselves or devalue ourselves, then you need to work very hard, because the world is more complicated than that. You're going to have people who judge you anyways. You yourself should not judge yourself or doubt yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, and I don't understand why we do this, but as humans, we're always self-doubting. Mm-hmm. And as an immigrant, it's even a double whammy, as they say. Mm-hmm. that we are in a country that the language is different, it's difficult, the mannerisms are different. Whether you look at or stare somebody in the eyes, that's different. Culturally, we don't do that because we do that as respect, so we're not looking at you or staring you in the eyes as normally it's a common thing to do. But we do put our own boundaries, and that is something that I think as immigrants, it's something that we need to release on.
Right.
We can't.
Dr. Padanti, there's probably someone right now listening to this episode and is an immigrant, and this person maybe is under 30s, under 40, and they're listening your words of encouragement. What can you tell them?
You know, what I wanted to tell those people who are thinking, questioning, or planning, I don't want you to think just what the success will be for you. I want you to think a little bit further. I want you to think that you could be a role model and you can work your way to be one, because we were talking about changing the world, and that can be simply changing somebody's life, just one life. It can be your son, your daughter, whomever that is, or somebody whom you just talk casually. It can be that one life. So if you set your goal to be that role model that you could be, you actually have somebody admiring you to do that, right? And how beautiful that is. We only live one life. And if we can just make our life better in addition and make somebody else's life better, why don't we do that? And that's what I meant by changing the world, because we need to change one life at a time.
And I think that would be called success.
Collectively.
In the next episode.
A coach and a mentor, you are, as those who've gone before me have said, your job is to be a guide, to help your clients reach the goals of their dreams, and that's meeting them where they're at. And though you can do that as a teacher, there are certain milestones that you have to make sure that your students meet.
We're going to have a conversation with Pacific Oaks alumni, Dr. Hugh Hunter and Seneca Handy White, about their journey through mentorship.